Hello everybody and welcome to the start of a new Let's Play. I'm very excited to delve back into the N64 and also into the RPG world. It's been quite a while since I've done an RPG on this channel, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to bring it back with Quest 64, which was one of the only RPGs that was officially released for the Nintendo 64 when it came out. And unfortunately, it's not a game that is well received. It didn't receive very good reviews overall. People thought it was lacking, and there are parts of the game that do appear to be unfinished, towns and rooms and things like that. However, I still think it's a lot of fun. I played this game when I was a kid. I really quite liked it then, even though I found it very difficult. And now that I'm an adult and I've kind of mastered how to play the game, I had a lot more fun with it when I better understood it. So I decided to kind of bring this little mini train wreck to you all. I know that not everybody is going to like it, however, I think it's definitely worth at least exploring, just because I think it's a little unique gem in the Nintendo 64 library. Whether or not people think that the game is going to be good, that's definitely going to be something that you will have to judge for yourselves. And because this is an RPG, I will most likely be doing very informative commentary, giving a lot of explanation and strategies and things like that, because that's generally what I do when I do an RPG. This should be a pretty lengthy project, and has all of the typical RPG type designs. It's got grinding, collecting, fighting, all that good stuff. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. These beginning cutscenes are almost ending, so I guess that's it. We can go ahead and we can get started. Brian, even though I begged you not to leave, you still say you must go after your father. No matter how wonderful your powers may be, you are still a child. Your father, Lord Bartholomew, left to search for the stolen Elatail book and has been missing for a month. No wonder you're worried about him. Contained in the words of the book is a power that exceeds human knowledge. I wonder who could have possibly stolen it from the crypt of the monastery. If an evil person should use it, the country and all its cities will be destroyed, the spirit's blessing will disappear, and Southland will once again be visited by a day of grief. Bartholomew's disappearance may mean he is caught in the fighting over the book. If you go, you may find yourself in danger as well. If you still insist, begin by going to Dondoran. I'll ask the King of Dondoran Castle to protect you. Why, thank you, Grand Abbot. I think I will do just that. So, that little cutscene is basically the introduction to all the story you're really gonna get in this game. If you're looking for a game with a deep and rich storyline, this may not be the game for you. Essentially, Brian, our main protagonist here, his father has gone missing in search of a book that could potentially destroy the world, and so we're gonna go find him, and that is our little quest. Yeah, quest. See what I did there? Yeah. Alright, let's start by looking at the menu. Of course, you can reach it by pressing the Start button. First screen that comes up is our status screen, and this essentially is everything that we need to look at when we level. Instead of leveling the traditional way by getting experience and by gaining levels, all you do is get 100% experience, and your HP, MP, defense, agility, etc. will go up. And I will go over this a little bit more when we get into battle. And I think this works very well for this game because it allows you to grind, and you don't really have a lot of restrictions, such as experience going down the farther that you go on. So I think that's really neat, and this is definitely a game where we are going to be doing a lot of grinding, so be prepared for that. If you want to change your settings in the game, you can do that, like message speed and background music. We also have a map to look at, and our map is fairly useful, or at least I think it is. You can see here that we are in Melrose, and the abbot has ordered us to go to Donderan, which is quite a walk. So it's going to take us a little while to get there, and we're going to fight some monsters along the way. And finally we have our elements screen, and elements pretty much make up the entire game. Depending on which elements you choose will pretty much determine the difficulty of the game. If you choose certain elements, the game can be very difficult, and if you choose other ones and you pair them and you kind of work in unity, the game can become very, very easy. So I'm gonna go over elements and spirits once I have the opportunity to do so, because it is such a big part of the game. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start by going through the monastery. It's a very, very linear building. You control Brian by using the control stick, and if you want to open a door, all you have to do is walk up to it and he will automatically open it. You don't have to press any buttons. To talk to people, you go up to them, the text bubble will appear, and you press the A button. And another huge gripe that I have about this game, one of the biggest design flaws in my opinion, is the camera. This game honestly has the worst camera I think I've ever seen, and Nintendo 64 is kind of notorious for this. A lot of their camera angles are really, really poor. You can see here that when I go to walk around, the camera doesn't follow me all that well, and sometimes I'm stuck looking at a corner that I was in, and it takes a little bit for the camera to adjust. However, they have designed a way to fix this, which is great, and in my opinion is one of the most helpful game mechanics that you will ever encounter in this game. While you're running, all you have to do is hold down the B button, and as you can see, it turns into a free camera, and it will essentially follow me wherever I go. And this will save your life. So, although it is a little bit of a nuisance to have to hold down the B button when you're running, it's really a minor inconvenience for something that is really such a large fix. I'm gonna go collect some items now in the monastery before we leave. When you see a treasure chest, walk up to it and press the Z button to open it. Brian will whack it with his staff and it will open the chest up. And it's important to collect items because there is no currency in this game. Ooh, that's right, we don't get money, therefore there are no shops, and all of the items that you get in this game are either given to you or you find them. So it's extremely important to save your items, and inventory management is really a huge part of this game. I'm getting lost because everything looks the same. And essentially what I'm doing here in the monastery is I'm only going into the doors that I find necessary. For example, in this room, all of the doors on this wall have nothing in them. There are no items to collect, and there might be a person to speak to who might give you some sort of information, but this game has a lot of fluff, as I like to call it. A lot of the stuff that's put into this game is not necessary, and they've just put it in for the sake of making the game look more complete. So I'm only going to really be going into areas that I think are essential, places that give you items, people that give you good hints, and places where you can find spirits. In the monastery there is a kitchen, or a bakery as I like to call them, and this is this room here, so you want to visit here before you leave. Welcome to the kitchen, laddie. Your quest is sure to be a long one. Please take this fresh bread. I made this myself. And what a nice lady, she will give you bread. However, if you speak to her again, she'll say, when the bread is gone, come back for more. I'll always have some ready for you. So it's important to remember in this game also that if the game detects that you have bread and you come to a bakery, it will actually not give you the item. So it's impossible to stack items. It's impossible to get free items from the baker unless you were to use a cheat or something like that. So currently we have honey bread and we have fresh bread. Until I use this fresh bread, I won't be able to get any more from the bakery. However, I can find fresh bread in chests, and if I manage to find it in chests, I can get more bread. However, if I have 2 pieces of bread and I try to come to a bakery, they will not give it to me. So the game is sort of forgiving. They give you some free items, because you don't have to pay for it, but you can only get a very limited amount. And each town has a bakery. So if you're running low on bread, make sure to visit the bakery in each town. Each town also has a place to get wings, which I will be showing off shortly, and an inn. Right now we're just at the monastery. We'll never have to go back in there, by the way. But the actual town of Melrose is down the dirt path. I wanted to come up here first though, because we're going to be getting our first spirit. And spirits are how we level up our elements. There are 90 of them in the game, I do believe, in total. And so you have 4 to choose from. When you see a spirit, you want to press X to examine it. Or Z, excuse me, Z to examine it. And our 4 elements are fire, wind, water, and earth. It's really up to you what you want to do. Each element has its perks. And because we only get 90 in total, I would suggest leveling up 3 elements and leaving 1 alone and not using the elements in that category whatsoever. We are going to start by leveling up water. And like I said, I don't really have a lot of time to talk about elements in great detail in this video. However, water is essentially a staple in this game. I would almost say it's mandatory, because without water, you will not be able to heal, and you'll have to solely depend on back traveling using wings, or you'll have to depend on items alone, which is very difficult, especially in later parts of the game. So without water, you will not be able to heal. And water also gives you very, very good abilities such as escape and a couple of other buffs later on. And the magic you get from it really isn't that bad either. So water is going to be our main thing we're going to be leveling up at the start of the game in this playthrough. And now we are in the town of Melrose, since we've come down from the monastery. Again, there's a lot of fluff here. There's not a lot of buildings you actually have to go into, or a lot of people you have to talk to. I'm going to start by grabbing the spirit that's in this area. It's to the west of the town, over here where this guy is herding all of his sheep. If you go into the hut, we can pick up some more bread. So we get more bread, more fresh bread. And then there is a spirit that is out at the edge of his farm. So the game is going to start to kind of hand out spirits left and right at the beginning of the game, but it's important to remember to pretty much hand them out evenly. If you're going to be going with 3 elements, maybe put 1 in your first element, the next spirit you find into your second element, and then the third element you find into the third one you'll be using, and do it that way so that one spell doesn't get incredibly over-leveled in comparison to another one. Now that that's done, we have 2 buildings side by side, and these are the 2 buildings I mentioned that are in every single town. We've got this building to start out with. I always thought that this was a honey pot when I was a kid, so I kind of call this the honey pot building, although that's not what you get here. Ready to travel, are you? Fine, we'll give you some white wings. They'll bring you back to Melrose anytime. It is important that you understand that wings will only work in wide open spaces. Take care! Alright, so wings are an instant teleportation if you use these out on the world map in wide open spaces he mentioned, which is very important to remember. They will instantly take you back to Melrose. You can only carry 1 pair of wings in your inventory at once. However, if you use them and come back to Melrose, you can always come back and ask for another pair. So if you feel like you're in danger and you need to rest up and use the inn, or you want to come back and get some more bread, or whatever it is that you need to do, the wings will allow you to do that. And I'll be showing that off later on. This next building is the inn. By speaking to the innkeeper, this is how you would normally save your game. Of course, I'm not going to be saving my game because I don't have a game pack. I don't have to worry about that, but each time you sleep at the inn, all of your HP and MP will be fully restored, and again, you do not have to pay for it. and you can use the services as many times as you would like. This interesting character here, let's talk to her. Hello, Master Apprentice, I'm Shannon. I've been traveling hither and yon all over Seltland. I see you're setting out on a quest too. I trust we'll run into each other along the way. So, we don't really run into any recurring characters in this game, and we don't get any sort of companion or friend or anybody that we can really go to for advice. The only person in the game that's like this is Shannon. So she's a unique NPC. She will appear in every single town when you visit the inn, and when you see her, it's important to speak to her because she will give you tips about where to go next or gossip about what's going on in the town, and she's very, very useful. So every time you see her, you'll want to talk to her. Right now it's night, and we're going to be setting out through this big door here, which is going to take us out to the open fields, and this is where we're going to go to get to Dondrin. If I pull up the map, going through the gate will take us out into the wide open space, and we do have quite a bit of walking to do. So in the next video I'll be going a little bit more into spirits. If I can, I'll probably use that time to talk about spirits, and we'll be talking about the battle system. We're going to get into some fights and see our first little bit of action as we make our way to Dondrin. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really looking forward to this series, and hopefully you are as well. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope that you'll be joining me next time.